This is Salim bin Muhammad Rafi, and here's your YouTube channel to Meal Universe. Today is 35th day of genocide and massacre, completely one-sided destruction of Gaza by the most criminal alliance between the United States and their illegitimate child, Zionist apartheid Israel. How they came barefooted, naked, starved, thirsty, hungry, sunken eyes, worse than beggars from Eastern Europe. Out of those 10% left by Hitler's, the rest he put them in gas chambers and incinerators. Reason is almost the same now.
Is laughable. One look at a current map of Israel, Gaza, and the occupied territories conjures up only one other example: apartheid-era South Africa. The Israeli government, on an ongoing basis, declares parcels of land on which Palestinians live to be either of military or archaeological importance, causing residents to be evicted. Sometimes there's a court case, and almost always the Palestinians lose. Yet months or weeks later, that same important land suddenly becomes home to a brand new Israeli settlement. As more and more Jewish settlers take over land on which Arabs live, the occupied West Bank becomes de facto more Israeli and, in the explicit hopes of the Israeli government, more Jewish. This is a long-standing attempt and a deliberate attempt to force Arabs who have lived in that land, sometimes for hundreds of years, out. It's an attempt to dilute their presence, because to have Arabs as full participants is, in the opinion of the Israeli government and their courts, diluting Israel. Just prior to the pandemic, I toured many of the contested areas and homes from which Arabs are being pushed out, both in Israel proper and in the occupied territories. Palestinians don't control the important parts of their lives. Palestinian families are refused permits to build or renovate their homes. When they connect their homes to the municipal water supply, Israeli soldiers sometimes cut the pipes. When they attempt to harness solar energy because their homes are not on the grid, Israeli soldiers literally come and remove solar panels from their homes. I spent an hour and a half traveling alongside an elderly Palestinian woman who was being transferred between 3 ambulances from Gaza to the no man's land in between and then into Israel to get cancer treatment. 3 ambulances over the course of 1 mile, more than an hour to cross the border. That's how Gazans live. Without medical treatment because Israel prevents it. Without electricity much of the time because Israel prevents it. Without the ability to fish in the Mediterranean Ocean because Israel prevents it. Without an airport.
They controlled the world through economy and wars. And between England and France, they are doing the same thing now for the last 75 years. In fact, the whole world wars, World War I and World War II, was their doing. It was the inside job, very well planned, engineered by them to create a home. And where they wanted that home is the same prophet they mocked about, walked away and ask your God to fight for you. And that I'm talking about Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. And only 2 tribes out of the 14 stayed behind. And even out of those 2 tribes, you can see for yourself how many of them are God conscious, how many of them have any humanity, how many of them have any regard for human rights, and how many of them care for not killing the babies, bombing, flattering the hospitals. The hospitals, on the pretext where there is a water drainage And they are trying with their lies, lies, and lies that this is the entrance to the tunnel. They have no shame. Listen from one of their own people that how they usurp and occupy the Palestinian land and build their settlements on it. How their courts are dishonest, how their government is dishonest, how their people are dishonest, how their people are cruel. No wonder their graves are dug. No wonder the people spit on them. No wonder their money even cannot buy them any respect and recognition in the whole world. Now you can see for yourself why they are the most hated individuals on earth. No other nation can do. There are rules even for war. To bomb with their latest arsenal, equivalent to the nuclear bomb they threw at Nagasaki and Hiroshima in 3 weeks over a small tiny strip of Gaza on the pretext that they are killing the Gaza resistant fighters.
और हमने किताब में बनी इसराइल से कह दिया था कि तुम जमीन में 2 दफा फसाद मचाओगे और बड़ी सरकशी करोगे। बस जब पहले वादे का वक्त आया तो हमने अपने सख्त लड़ाई लड़ने वाले बंदे तुम पर मुसल्लत कर दिए और वो शहरों के अंदर फैल गए और वो वादा पूरा होकर रहा। फिर हमने दूसरी बार तुमको उन पर गलबा दिया और माल और बेटों से तुम्हारी मदद की और तुमको जमात कसीर बना दिया। अगर तुम नेकुकारी करोगे तो अपनी जानों के लिए करोगे और अगर आमाल बद करोगे तो उनका वबाल भी तुम्हारी ही जानों पर होगा। फिर जब दूसरे वादे का वक्त आया तो हमने फिर अपने बंदे भेजे ताकि तुम्हारे चेहरों को बिगाड़ दें और जिस तरह पहली दफा मस्जिद बैतुल मक़दिस में दाखिल हो गए थे उसी तरह फिर उसमें दाखिल हो जाएं और जिस चीज पर गलबा पाएं उसे तबाह कर दी। उम्मीद है कि तुम्हारा परवरदिगार तुम पर रहम करे और अगर तुम फिर वही हरकतें करोगे तो हम भी वही पहला सलूक करेंगे और हमने जहन्नम को काफिरों के लिए कैद खाना बना रखा है।
Those who resist occupation and who have any conscience, and these cowards cannot face them, so they bomb with them because they are empty-handed, they have no anti-aircraft guns, they don't have any jets, and they cannot fight them up in the air. So this is what they do, is deprive them of electricity, of water, of food and medicine, destroy their hospitals, their schools, their shelters, and they move them in millions from their own homes so that they can occupy their small tiny strip that's left. And they want to push them in the desert to die in thirst and underneath the sky and the sun in the scorching heat. Why should anybody have any sympathy for such cruel nation and such cruel people? Listen to this British, ambassador representing this cruelest state on earth. And how is he trying to justify that what they are doing is in self-defense? What defense? Nonsense. This woman knows that she is lying. And this is one of the worst things in humankind when you try to prove your lies and make people to believe that it's the truth. Lies, lies and lies for the last 75 years. Cheating and bombing British first, terrorizing them, the American ship then, and then Syrians, then you can see Jordanians, Egyptians, and now one by one, all the Palestinians. 90% of the area of Palestine where they sought refuge, they have stolen from them, and now they have you can see that they have the nerve to ask for any sympathy. I think they deserve no sympathy at all. It is only a matter of days now because they have known that they cannot win them. They cannot rule them. They cannot control them. They are not like West Bank, who on their false promises that it's a state, and they put Mahmoud Abbas, a 90-year-old senile and suffering from dementia, have no power, will they daily kill at breakfast, lunch, and dinner time in thousands Palestinians, and in their jails are full with the kids, with the 6 years, with 4 years, and the women and the elderly. Their jails are full of those innocent Palestinians of West Bank. So it's not just Gaza alone; it's the Palestine they have engulfed. That's what they are trying to digest. From the Republican presidential candidates' debate and their statements, you can very well see that there is no such thing as a separate country. This country is a Jewish controlled enclave or a colony of the Netanyahu. Without invitation, this person went and addressed the lower house and the upper house, and the POTUS 44, was helpless. The first black president, Barack Obama, was sitting. He never invited him to come and address, but a Jewish speaker let him in and he mocked at him. And so he is doing to now the present, I think, the person who is in the White House, you call, or his opponents call him Sleepy Joe. I wouldn't use those words for anybody. And look how his Secretary of State, Anthony, he was insulted, made to wait, and no, not he could not move even a feather. So a dishonest broker with no respect, only relying.
गाजा में घुसे इजरायल के कमांडो किसके निशाने पर हैं? इनके एक एक मूवमेंट पर उनकी नजर है। ये जहां भी जाते हैं उनके टारगेट पर रहते हैं। ये यहां जो कुछ करते हैं उनकी मर्जी से करते हैं। दिन के 24 घंटे, घंटे के 60 मिनट और मिनट के 60 सेकंड ये उनके निशाने पर हैं। ऐसा सिर्फ ग्राउंड ऑपरेशन में शामिल सेना के साथ ही नहीं है, इनके टैंक भी टारगेट पर हैं। गाजा में घुसे एक एक टैंक की हलचल उनके इशारे पर हो रही है। ये इजरायल के दोस्त नहीं, उनके जानी दुश्मन हैं। अब सवाल है कि अगर ये दुश्मन है तो गोली क्यों नहीं चला रहे हैं? इनको मौत के घाट क्यों नहीं उतार रहे? आखिर इनको अपने इलाके में और अंदर तक क्यों आने दे रहे हैं? जवाब है, हमास ने गाजा में मौत का जाल बिछा रखा है। ये जाल हवाई हमले में बर्बाद हुई इमारतों के मलबे में बनाया गया है। दावा है कि इस मलबे में ही हमास ने इजरायल के सैनिकों के लिए किल जोन बना रखा है। किल जोन भी ऐसा पहले कभी नहीं देखा जैसा। एक ऐसा किल जोन जहां जो आएगा मारा जाएगा। दावा है कि इस जाल की तरफ बढ़ते इजरायली सैनिकों के एक एक कदम मौत के और करीब ला रहे हैं, क्योंकि इस किल जोन में हमास ने सैकड़ों स्नाइपर छिपा रखे हैं।
On their firepower, on unarmed people, on babies, on women, on civilians. These both war criminals have destroyed the world peace. And I think it's also despicable and disgusting for both China and Russia and North Korea that they are not waking up and they are provoking Muslims, knowing fully well that they are not equally equipped as these three countries are with their interballistic missiles, with their nuclear arsenals, with their submarines, and they can not stand aside and look for the bombardment they are doing on Syria. What on earth is the aircraft carrier of Russia doing there? Why is not shot down all the American aircraft which have come to bomb Syria? Why did they not any, I think, Israeli jet up in the space over the Golden Heights or in the airspace of Syria is not shot by Russians? And what good is there? And what good is this six ships of China in the ocean floating around with their submarines and latest arsenal when they are not shooting down the Israeli planes and jets, when their submarines are not attacking them, when they are not carving and helping the Palestinians to reclaim and reconquer their own land. They want those barehanded, civilians, unarmed civilians to fight. Fight the hell out what? What on earth are you doing and who are you trying to cheat? So when they have dishonest, I think, friends like China and Russia and North Korea, who can confront America and put the hegemony of this war criminal once for all, automatically the Israel will die its own death. It is about time that as soon as this person is thrown out, Netanyahu and his chief of staff and his, intelligence for the own Israelis will throw him out. Then I think it's the time now to sit down with them and dictate that which part they can live and give the rest of 80 to 90% back to Palestinians and let them live now and they to taste what occupation is like. See that how in a divine, I think, in the book, they will only be able to do this twice. Once they have done it and they entered into the mosque, and you could see that how with they entered with their shoes on and how they are beating up the people who are praying. Even in Salat, people standing in the queue praying to Almighty, the Creator. See their soldier, their dirty, filthy beasts are not only disturbing them, but removing their and breaking their queue. And they think that they won't go unpunished. They will. They won't disappear from this earth. They will. They won't become an example for the rest of the world. They will. They won't be tried for war crimes. They will.
Shame on United Nation. Shame on European Union. Shame on international law. Shame on WHO. Shame on UNICEF. Big shame on the International Human Rights Commission. You call yourself the Human Rights Commission? You are not even capable of protecting animal rights. This is not an international organization. This is all international circus. And all the members are international jokers. Biden and Netanyahu are the ringmasters. We don't want to see your shows anymore. Stop wasting our money. You and your organization are absolutely good for nothing. We stand with Palestine, and we will stand forever. We will pray, we will protest, and fight till Palestine is free. Please share and repost this video and keep sending shame on those organizations. Hashtag Free Palestine.
With these words, that soon we will see an end to this massacre because this cannot go on. The world cannot see it. The whole world is out protesting and asking to see fire. One stubborn and mental person is against 125 countries which voted against Israel. And you can imagine the stubbornness, the filth, then the scum of these people. And then they say, what wrong we have done, why they hate us. Now you know the answer, why you are hated by the whole world. If you want to live in peace and be respected like other nations, get down on your knees, get out of Gaza and West Bank and Jerusalem, get back out of, I think, the whole of Palestine, and just get back to the countries you came from. And all you can do is to get the money for, if you want to, for the houses you built there. And money is your, I think, parents. You live on that. If you live on compound interest and introduce corporate business and the credit cards with 20 to 2% interest, so your bread and butter is there, and that the rest of the world will pay you. And so do you go and build your, I think, habitat somewhere else, not in this sacred land of the prophets. And that's your fate, and that's what soon is going to happen to you. So the sooner you get out and stop, and you can avoid the wrath of God, which I think is the waiting for you, and you can listen to these words of the Holy Scripture, and you can understand that that will happen. So no matter where you hide, under which tree you hide, you will be eliminated, and it is all your own doing. Nobody wanted to do this to you, even though you can blame. Now when you look retrospectively, Hitler, he would have a cause to do what he did, but you have surpassed. You have surpassed Hitler thousands times more with the help of, I think, money of Great Britain and the ammunition of United States, Great Britain, and that's what you're born. So they are both yours, I think, both mother and father, they who gave birth to you, they are equally, I think, the partners in crime, and their hands are soaked with the blood of these Palestinian babies, men and women. And unless you try them in the International Criminal Court and put them behind the bars and give them life imprisonment, and everywhere where any of the American or from the White House they travel, they should be arrested there with the warrants from that court as war criminals. I think United Nations should now act, and the whole 125 nations who oppose this, and they are out protesting. That's the only way they can do to punish these three. And then the evil will be, I think, eliminated from this planet forever. यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर